Hey guys, this is Holland with the Wolverine.com, and we're back with another episode of the Road Report. Before we dive into this week's show, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the Wolverine.com today for just $29.99 until August 31st of this year. That gets you premium insider recruiting information, team information, basketball recruiting, NIL, transfer portal, and so much more. All for just $29.99 until August 31st. You also get to be part of a great message board community over at the Fort right now with more than 8,000 other Michigan fans, so come join the discussion. This membership will get you access through the end of basketball season, unofficial visits here in the spring, summer official visits, spring football, so now is the perfect time to subscribe. All right, guys, let's dive into my time on the road this week. So I had quite the adventure traveling over the weekend. I left my home in Norfolk, Virginia, and departed to Gatlinburg, Tennessee on Friday night, stayed the night in Asheville, and then drove up to Gatlinburg on Saturday morning for the Rocky Top 7-on-7 tournament. That tournament featured Detroit's Sound Mind, Sound Body Max X team, which is home to on 300 Michigan defensive back commit Jacob Oden. Jacob Oden obviously committed to Michigan last month, picking the Wolverines over Michigan State, Penn State, Notre Dame, and several other major offers. Oden is the safest take you can get in the secondary this cycle, in my opinion. He's just such a high floor prospect, and you could see that at the tournament. He didn't really make any true wow plays. He didn't have any interceptions in the games that I saw him play, but he didn't let anything get behind him. He did a great job of commanding the defense and putting guys into position to make plays. So I think he has the potential to be a multi-year starter at the safety position at Michigan. He's filling out his frame really well. He has a thick upper half and lower half. He has quality length. More importantly, he's just a great student of the game. His father, Rod, was a walk-on fullback for Michigan in the 90s and is now the head coach at Harper Wood, so he's a coach's son. He understands what offenses are trying to do, and like I said, he helps get others in place. Just a really smart, instinctual player, great ball skills. So might not be the most explosive or fastest defensive back, but just a really, really good football player in Jacob Oden. You know what you are getting here. There's a reason that all four major recruiting services actually agree and have Oden ranked in between number 150 and number 200 on the national rankings. As far as his commitment, I mean, Oden's a legacy recruit. He bleeds maize and blue. He's working to get other guys with him to Michigan, particularly Bryce West, Aaron Scott, and Boo Carter, a trio of other on 300 defensive backs, as well as Jeremiah Beasley, an on 300 linebacker and fellow in-state prospect who we'll talk about next. But Jacob Oden is a guy that bleeds maize and blue. Like I said, legacy recruit. He's going to be a very vocal leader in this class. And that brings us to Jeremiah Beasley, on 300 linebacker out of Belleville, 7-on-7 teammate of Jacob Oden. They've known each other since they were elementary students. So I think Oden is going to play a role in helping the Wolverines land Beasley. Now, Beasley was set to make a decision this spring. He has pushed that back and is now targeting a potential summer decision date. He has set a new date, but is pretty, open to seeing how things go with official visits and such. Michigan remains in that final group for him, along with Penn State, Michigan State, and Colorado. There might be some other schools entering the mix as well. I think Michigan State is probably the biggest threat right now, considering his half-brother Malik Carr plays for the Spartans. It seems like there's a lot of pressure for him to go to Michigan State, but he's a great fit at Michigan. Beasley's a 4.0 kid, so he really likes what Michigan can offer away from the field. On top of that, he's a really good sideline-to-sideline linebacker. He's a converted running back, so he has plenty of speed. He fits exactly the type of guy that Jesse Minter values at the linebacker position in his defensive scheme, guys that can really run. That's Jeremiah Beasley. And so I think he sees himself as that fit at that spot, and he has a great relationship with Steve Klingscale, Michigan's co-defensive coordinator, who has been recruiting him for several years. So Michigan still in a good standing there, and I love Beasley. Like I said, he's a scheme fit. I've seen him on the 7-on-7 circuit for a couple years now. I've seen him in game in the past, and he's just really, really comfortable playing in space, dropping back into coverage, getting sideline to sideline. So I think Beasley's one of the more undervalued guys. He had a great tournament at Rocky Top. I saw several underclassmen recruits at the Rocky Top tournament. One guy I want to highlight is CJ Sadler. He's the next 5-star recruit out of the great state of Michigan. In my opinion, I think he has the potential to be that. He is a dynamic athlete, was arguably the most explosive player at this event. He played slot receiver, outside receiver, and just took the top off defenses. He's an absolute stud playmaker. He does start at cornerback for Cass Tech as well. I think he can play either at the next level. Right now, CJ's only weakness at this point is his height. He is a little bit on the shorter side. Be interested to see how much he grows over the next couple of years, but he is a dynamite football player and a name Michigan fans really need to know. Sadler visited Michigan last fall and is planning to return to campus. For more thoughts from the Rocky Top tournament, you can find them all over at the Wolverine.com. But those are the guys I wanted to highlight from my time there. After seeing them, I hopped in the car and drove down to Georgia for the Under Armour Atlanta camp on Sunday morning. I had a chance to see a handful of Michigan 2024 targets there, including priority center recruit Waltclaire Flynn out of Grayson, powerhouse school in the Peach State. Flynn visited Michigan in January, and I think the Wolverines are really trending in the right direction here. He loves the offensive line production. He loves the fact that Michigan was home to the Remington Award winner. He sees himself in a similar mold as Olu Oluwatimi. So I think that the visit went really well last January, or this past month in January. I do think that Sharon Moore is building a really strong relationship with him as well. And like I said, Waltclaire Flynn's a pure center prospect. He had some really good reps at the Under Armour camp. I think the knock on him is his height. He's only 6'1". Being on the short side is okay for a center. And like I said, he is a pure center all the way. I think he's technically sound. He has a good base. He's really athletic in the interior of the offensive line. I thought he had a quality overall day. And like I said, I think Michigan is really surging in that recruitment. He said he will be back on campus for an official visit before he makes a decision in the summer. Moving on to another offensive recruit in the 2024 class, Max LeBlanc. On 300 tight end out of Tennessee, just named the Wolverines in his top 8. He is set to visit on March 24th, as I first reported. Now, all eyes are on Brady Prescorn at the tight end position, but Max LeBlanc is a guy that Grant Newsome really likes. I thought he had a really strong performance at the camp. I thought his frame looked really intriguing. He's well built in his upper and lower halves. He's a guy that really wowed me with his athleticism. I really wasn't expecting him, since he is a little bit more compact. I wasn't expecting him to be overly athletic, and I thought he won some really good jump balls. He did a terrific job of high pointing the ball, displaying really excellent body control as well. I think he was arguably the top tight end there, along with Kylan Fox. So I was really impressed with what Max LeBlanc showcased at the Under Armour camp in Atlanta, and there's a reason he's moving up the tight end board. So I know Max LeBlanc is probably not a guy that you've heard a ton about right now if you're a Michigan fan, but he is one to know, especially with him visiting on March 24th. Another standout in the 2024 class was Justin Greene. He was one of the best pass rushers there, top 100 recruit out of Georgia, has really ascended up Michigan's edge board. Jesse Minter stopped by his high school during the contact period, and he and Dylan Roney, who really helps out with the Michigan edge rushers, have been leading the way in this recruitment. Greene is, I kind of wrote this in my camp report, Greene is a shorter Mike Morris, a lot of the same type of skill set, just a couple of inches shorter at 6'3.5", 6'4". But again, was one of the top performers there. He did tell me that Michigan is in consideration for a visit, so we'll see how things progress. I mean, he is a wanted man out of the Southeast. He's going to have plenty of SEC suitors, but with Michigan's edge production, I think if they can get him in on a visit, they could move the needle with Justin Greene. As far as underclassmen go, I will highlight too, I saw 12 underclassmen in total. If you want to read about all of them, you can subscribe to thewolverine.com. But the guys I'll highlight, we'll start off first with David Sanders, the number 2 overall recruit in 2025 and the number 1 offensive tackle in the country out of Charlotte Providence Day, which of course is home to 2024 targets Channing Goodwin, Jordan Shipp, and Jaden Davis. But David Sanders is the best recruit at Providence Day, regardless of class. I mean, this is an elite left tackle prospect, terrific footwork, insane athleticism, great length, the frame to add like 60 more pounds. I mean, David Sanders is the total package. He did tell me that he's looking to visit Michigan in March. Michigan was actually the first to offer him. So what a terrific evaluation by Sharon Moore and company. He has plenty of suitors. Alabama and Georgia are involved, as is basically any Power 5 team in the country. So it will be a tough recruitment to win. But I think the fact that Michigan offered first, and if it can land one of the 2024 guys or multiple of the 2024 guys from Providence Day, that will certainly help. And lastly, I'll highlight Julian Lewis, 2026 quarterback out of Georgia, and 2026 seems far away, especially when looking at the quarterback position, when right now we're all focused on Jaden Davis. But Julian Lewis, man, what an elite talent. He was the best quarterback at the event. And I mean, you talk about a young guy who plays like a senior. I mean, that's Julian Lewis. Pinpoint accuracy, terrific touch on his footballs, a little on the shorter side, but still has a live arm, a 5-star talent all the way. He might be the most effortless passer I've seen since I covered Bryce Young on the Texas beat when he was an underclassman. Julian Lewis is that dude. Jim Harbaugh offered him after seeing him at a satellite camp last summer. So that personal offer from Harbaugh meant a lot to Lewis, and he is looking to potentially make a visit to Michigan this spring. Again, I know 2026 quarterback recruiting is far away, but you're going to want to get familiar with Julian Lewis. He will be at the top of Michigan's quarterback board in that cycle. All right, guys, for more thoughts from my time in both Tennessee and Georgia, make sure to subscribe to thewolverine.com today for just $29.99 through August 31st.